I just saw myself. Where'd I go? All right. Let's go live here. All right, all right. Divine rising, everybody. Uh-oh. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure. Oh no, it always does this. Let me refresh this. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I need to refresh. But let me go ahead and get this shared out. Hope everybody had a divine weekend and that you enjoyed your family or whatever you did this weekend. Hope you just enjoyed it overall. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this shared out as usual. And if you are tuning in with me, let me know where you are tuning in from, so I can give you a little shout out. Um, Let me know where you are chiming in from on this morning. This is definitely a new week. We're going to be doing new things, or I'll say better things. Who knows? Just depends on what you want your day to be. All right. Because as I say, we are the creators of our days, what we do, what we don't do. We're relaxing. If we're not relaxing, I mean, we create that. And if it's something that we don't like, we can always recreate it, just change it up and do something different, right? All right, so I got that shared out. As I said, if you are tuning in with me right now, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to go ahead and kind of go into this title for the Quiet Queens Morning Live. Of course, y'all, that is Monday, August 24th, 2026. It's now 8:34 a.m. in the morning. I know some of y'all are already at work. Maybe at work, maybe you're scrolling, and hopefully you're scrolling and you stop by and you see this live and see what's going on, right? And so on this morning, we're going to be talking about not everything that deserves your attention deserves your energy. And y'all, look, I'm an energy person. If the energy's not right, you know what? I'm going to move around, right? So let's get into the description of this. And I know I'm going to be repeating some stuff, but it's okay. I just want to get the description out so you can know what this live is about. And then we're going to get into it, right? And like I said, if you are tuning in and if you would like to join me on live, if you'd like to join me on live, I don't have it on the Instagram or my actual academy for anyone to join me live. But if you want to join me live and you are tuning in on my two Facebook pages, or I didn't even put it on, I didn't even put it on YouTube. But anyway, if you are tuning in and you would like to join me, all you need to do is go to the comment section, the pinned post. It says live with me. Click that and it'll bring you to a meeting room. You can see it, or you don't have to have an app. You just it'll open up in your browser and you can join me on live right here on Facebook And it'll show on each one of the platforms, right? But if you want to join me live, just all you got to do is click the link, and I will bring you on. And if you want to get joined in on this conversation on this morning, and there's other links there if you decide you want to explore or anything like that, just go ahead and click the link, just go explore. But just explore after we get done with the live. That'll be great, because I would love to have your engagement on this live, on any live that I have. And there are previous lives that I have done that you can go back and you can listen in on, and drop your comment, give me your perspective on what that topic was about. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the description. Over the last 2 weeks, we have been building something intentionally. First, self-trust taught us to hear ourselves, discern, communicate, follow through, and lead. Then boundaries taught us to honor what we have without controlling other people. Now, another question becomes possible: what deserves access to my time, attention, and energy? Everything can be important without everything being equally important right now. So this morning on Quiet Queens Morning Live, we're beginning a conversation about intentional energy. Not doing less simply for the sake of doing less, not ignoring responsibilities, but becoming more conscious about what receives us. Because when everything gets equal access to your attention, what matters most can quietly receive what's left. And so, as we say in Quiet Queens Academy, we don't build louder, we build clearer. So let's go ahead and let me just tell you what this weekly theme is about. It's going to be intentional energy. So that's what we're going to be tapping in for this week. Intentional energy. I am pretty like elated about this particular topic, because like I said, I am an energy person. So, but without further ado, let me go ahead and get into this morning's live. Okay, and again, divine rising to you, quiet queens, for the last 2 weeks. And again, I said I'm going to be repeating some things, so here's the repeat. We've been building one conversation. We started with self-trust. Then last week we talked about boundaries, and what happens when we begin honoring what we know about ourselves. But once you stop automatically giving everything access to you, another question starts showing up. What actually deserves my energy? Because everything that gets my attention also receives something from me, right? My thoughts, my time, my focus, my emotional capacity, my presence. And think, sometimes we can become so accustomed to responding to whatever is in front of us that we never stop to ask whether everything in front of us deserves the same amount of us. That was kind of a tongue tie, right? So, anyway, so that's where I want to begin this week. So, again, like I said, if you're tuning in with me, let me know where you're tuning in from. I see you popping in and popping out. That's great. I love that. Perhaps maybe one day you'll stay and see what's going on. I mean, because I believe that these conversations are definitely beneficial to our lives, not just in our business relationship, but in relationships in general, and especially the relationship with ourselves. So let's go ahead and get into my reflection. Is I have um, I have had to recognize that just because I can give something my attention doesn't automatically mean I need to. And that distinction matters to me, because there will always be something I could be doing, another idea, another conversation, another opportunity, another request, another direction I could go. But I've learned that having access to many possibilities doesn't mean every possibility deserves equal energy from me. So sometimes being intentional means recognizing what, right? This matters and that matters too, but they don't both require me in the same way right now. So that isn't me becoming careless about what matters. For me, that's stewardship. Because if I give everything equal access to me, I may eventually discover that what mattered what mattered most was receiving whatever I had left, right? So we don't want to give the things that matters to us less of us in the ones that didn't really deserve the more of us, right? So let's go ahead and tap into these core conversations. And so the first things first, um, being able, it's not being able, being available can quietly become an identity. How many of y'all believe that? Because sometimes we don't notice how often we respond simply because something has presented itself. A notification appears, we check it. Someone asks, we answer. An opportunity appears, we consider it. An idea comes, we immediately begin building it. I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I do that. Um, Nothing about those individual choices necessarily looks significant, but collectively, they can create a pattern where whatever arrives gets access to our attention. And after a while, mm, constant availability can begin feeling like responsibility, right? You may even feel uncomfortable when you don't respond. So notice, have I become accustomed to giving my attention based on what appears rather than what I've intentionally decided matters? And so it's just like, what I'm doing right here. I mean, before I get into that my explanation, no judgment, just recognition. So there's no judgment, just recognition. So, but I tend to be very intentional about when it comes to my brand, the business, and there was time before that I could see things because I was one of them people that every shiny object syndrome, and having a shiny object syndrome, I had it. And every shiny object I saw, that I thought would be beneficial to the business or my business or wherever I was at that moment, I'm like, I felt like I had to have it. But now it's like, I decided to get focused, right? Because sometimes it takes us to get focused and give the energy to the things that really requires our energy, or that we should give the energy to, because like I said, requirement is need. But anyway, um, but that I feel like that should have most of my energy. And like even me getting up every single morning, Monday through Friday, I'm not trying to convince myself, but anyway, I do this because I do it intentionally. Monday through Friday, I get up every single morning and I get go live every single morning, 8:30. I mean, even with the mishaps, even with everything that happens, I mean, where it don't go over so well, I started over. I mean, but I'm intentional about this because I feel like to me this matters. This matters to the brand. It matters to the business. So it matters because the thing is, because I use, not because it's an excuse, because it's not that it's an excuse. I use AI. So the thing is, I want people to see not only the AI information, but also the information that I can deliver myself, and that I am a human being, and that I am the person behind all that is being created. So therefore I come on live so I can deliver the same value that I'm delivering through the content, right? The captions, the posts that you see. So I come live, and this is part of, me showing up. So in any event, so I feel like that I intentionally give energy to this right here because it matters. Now, and there's another thing that I give attention to because it matters, and that's my health. So I intentionally get up every single morning at, well, not every single morning, but 3 times a week. I get up at 3 a.m. in the morning to get prepared to go to the gym and to work out. I'm at the gym for maybe an hour 30 minutes or something like that. But that matters to me. So I give energy to that. I give energy to the things that I eat, the foods that I eat. So therefore that matters. But then, like I said, even sometimes when it comes to, certain things, that matters, but I don't give as much energy to it. Right. So Let's get into the second thing. Capacity and availability are not the same thing. You may technically have an hour available. That doesn't automatically mean you have to have the capacity for what someone is asking you to put inside that hour. You may have space on your calendar while needing mental space. You may have the ability to help while recognizing that helping right now will pull energy away from something you've already chosen, right? You may have an opportunity in front of you, right? Uh, in front of you that is genuinely good, and still recognize I don't have to turn every available space into another obligation, because the things that really don't matter, we're not really truly obligated to give them space, right? To give that energy to it. So let's get into number three, the third thing in the core of this conversation. Importance Importance does not automatically determine priority, right? Importance does not automatically determine priority. This is where I think we need another distinction. Something can matter and still not be your priority right now, right? That doesn't make it unimportant. Priority requires context, right? What season am I in? What have I already committed to? What am I building? What responsibility requires my attention? What happens if I redirect my energy here? This is why clarity matters. Without clarity, everything important can begin competing as though it deserves first position. But if everything is first, nothing actually is, right? Nothing actually is. And so the Quiet Queens, the Academy teaches clarity and discernment as the ability to distinguish truth, noise, impulse, condition, and alignment while making conscious decisions about priorities and energy allocation, right? And so the fourth thing, your attention is part of your stewardship. Last week we talked about boundaries. Boundaries helped us determine what receives access. This week, we're going deeper because once something has access, there is still another decision. How much of me does this deserve? Not every conversation deserves an hour. I'm guilty of that. I will have a conversation because I talk. Not every idea deserves execution. Not every opportunity deserves pursuit. Not every disagreement deserves your participation. Not every notification, excuse me, deserves immediate attention. And not every important thing deserves equal energy today. This isn't about becoming detached. It's about becoming intentional. And that's become a word for me, intentional. We gotta be intentional. And basically intentional for me. Now I'm going things like hot and cold things. Sun got cold in here. But intentional for me is basically doing it on purpose. Doing it on purpose, right? I'm intentionally doing this because this what matters to me, right? I mean, it's just like, today is the 24th. And so this will be the day that I probably sit here for probably more than an hour and put together content for the next 30 days, right? For the next 30 days. I don't put content out for a whole year. I put it out for the next 30 days. And everything has to be in alignment with, my Quiet Queen's doctrines, operating system. It has to be in alignment. So it's just not like and just throwing anything out there, right? It's very intentional about what it is that I do, right? So let's get into the fifth thing. Stop asking only, do I have time? Begin asking, what deserves my energy right now? Excuse me. What deserves my energy right now? Those questions can produce very different answers. You might have time, but another commitment deserves your focus. You might have the ability, but you don't have the capacity. You might genuinely like the opportunity, but does it belong to what you're building right now? And sometimes the answer may absolutely be yes. The purpose isn't to automatically say no. The purpose is to choose instead of automatically responding. That's quiet authority. So take authority over the things that you give energy to, right? Or that you don't give energy to. So take the authority over those things. All right. And so this is the point where we get a little engagement. So if you are tuning in right now, if you choose to, no pressure here because this is a no pressure zone, no persuasion zone, or convincing zone. Okay, we don't do that in this space, right? So, but if you feel like that you want to engage and give your perspective on what we're going to be reflecting over, do so. Let us know in the comments because there may be a quiet queen that could definitely, use your input on the journey that you're on when we're talking about this particular, not everything deserves your energy, right? So, um, so think about where most of your attention has gone over the last few days, not where you intended for it to go. Where did it actually go? Now ask yourself, did what received most of my attention reflect what I said matters most to me? You don't have to judge the answer, just notice it because awareness gives you information, and information gives you something you can consciously decide what to do with it. Okay, let me go check over here. I forgot. I got to, let me close this up. Okay, just checking to see if anybody is in the comments over here. All right, all right, all right. Okay, so here is a practical takeaway for you. All right, something that you can actually implement. Okay, the energy notice. Okay, so today, before automatically giving something your attention, pause long enough to ask, does this need my attention? And then, does it need my attention right now? And finally, how much of my energy does it actually require? Those are three different questions. You aren't trying to protect yourself from everything. You're becoming more conscious about what receives you, right? And so, in closing, quiet queens, self trust taught us to hear ourselves, boundaries taught us to honor what we heard, and now intentional energy is asking us to become more conscious about what receives us because your energy is participating in the life you're building. Where you repeatedly place your attention matters. Where you repeatedly place your thoughts matter. Where you repeatedly place, I'm just tongue tied, place your presence matter. So this week isn't about becoming unavailable, it's about becoming intentional. Everything doesn't have to be wrong for you to decide that something else deserves more of you right now. And sometimes the clearest form of self-leadership is simply knowing this matters. But this matters more right now. We don't build louder, we build clearer. And so, as I stated earlier on, if you um, like to know more about the Academy, you can simply go to academy.quietqueensacademy.com and explore the Academy there. You will get everything to, the about the um, what we teach, our philosophy, the academy, and then also the assessment. And I truly, really encourage you to actually go take the assessment and see what type of builder you are. See what type of builder you are right now. And you may have seen ad come through about the assessment. Go ahead and take the assessment. And I do want to, like I said, in transparency, go in when you if you click on the academy, okay, go and get into the academy for about, go check it out for like 14 days. There's some courses in it, the things, it's the learn tab. You can go in there and check things out over there, um, and and see, how we move in there. There's also going to be, content, some of the stuff that you may have already seen, some of the it may be new stuff to you. But however, the thing is basically it is an ecosystem to where you can come in and learn about the academy as far as leadership, identity. Of course, the courses. I mean, pretty much is more or less leadership in building. If you, I mean, like I said, these are tools that can be used. You know, in life and in business. So, and the thing is, and if you are entrepreneur and you are or an inspiring entrepreneur, and you want to have the foundation, before getting into business, I believe that, here in Quiet Queens Academy, you would definitely get that there to before starting in your business. And also, like I said, in all transparency, there is a part in there where, because I do have a business outside of my brand, I do have a actual business that I have. But to learn more about the business, to learn more about the business model, because that's what I call the business model. Simply, go and check out the academy. But like I said, when you go through the assessment, let me just say that when you take the assessment, you will get your results. So do check your email. Check your email so that you can see your results. And each builder, it will explain which each builder is and what builder you are based on the questions and how you answered. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, 12 questions, and go through there. And also, like if you decide that you want to know about the business model, just go through the process. Go through the process, and you'll be able to schedule a call with me, and then we can get on a call and get and you can I will show you what the business model is. But like I said, I don't talk about the business model here, but however, there is a business model if you like to know more about what that business model is. And if you I really, like I said, I really encourage you to go through go to academy.quietqueensacademy.com, and you can get access to the business model there, um, and find out more about the business. But anyway, I do want to say thank you all for spending your morning with me as you have done every single morning. I am grateful that you have taken the time out to do so. Even if you are watching this on the replay, I appreciate you taking the time out to watch this information and let me know what stood out to you. What value did you get from these lives? I would love your feedback. But anyway, I'm going to see you on tomorrow, Quiet Queens. And you all have a divine day, and I will talk to you soon. All right.